The email arrived at 2:47 p.m. on a Wednesday while I was sitting in a conference call. That could have been a text message. Thank you for booking your Harmony Spa couples massage package with us. Your appointment is confirmed for Saturday, June 15th at 2 p.m. Your massage therapists are Elena and Marcus. Please arrive 15 minutes early. We look forward to pampering you and your special someone. I read it 3 times. Then I read it a 4th time because the 4th reading might somehow make it make sense. It didn't. I had not booked a couple's massage. I had never even considered booking a couple's massage. My wife Sarah and I don't do couples things. We're not the kind of couple that goes to spas or takes romantic getaways or does anything that requires coordinating schedules and discussing feelings in a structured environment. We're the kind of couple that tolerates each other quietly while watching television and occasionally remembers that we're supposed to be in love. But apparently, someone had booked us a couple's massage. I left the meeting without excusing myself. I texted Sarah, "Did you book us a massage?" 3 dots appeared immediately, then disappeared, then appeared again. Finally, no. What? I got a confirmation email. That's weird. That was all. That was the extent of our investigation into the mysterious massage. That was exactly how Sarah and I handled most things in our marriage, with a casual acknowledgement that something was strange, followed by a complete decision to not actually deal with it. But this time, something felt different. This time, the strangeness wouldn't let go. Let me explain what kind of marriage we had, because it's important to understanding why a couple's massage felt like a threat. Sarah and I met at work. I was a project manager. She was in accounting. We would pass each other in the break room, and I would make jokes that she would sometimes laugh at. After 6 months of this, I asked her out. After a year, we moved in together. After 3 years, we got married because her mom kept asking, and it seemed easier to do it than to keep explaining why we hadn't. We didn't have a big wedding. We had a courthouse ceremony with 2 witnesses we'd met that morning. We came home and ate Chinese food. We went to sleep. The next morning, everything was exactly the same as it had been before, except now we were married. People asked us what it was like being married, and the honest answer was that it wasn't like anything. It was just our regular life with more legal paperwork. We lived together in a pleasant 4-bedroom house in the suburbs. I worked in marketing. Sarah worked in accounting. We had 2 cars, 3 plants that Sarah kept alive, and 1 dog named Henry that we'd adopted because we thought it would give us something to bond over. It hadn't, particularly. We just both loved the dog and took turns walking him. We weren't unhappy, but we also weren't particularly happy. We existed in a kind of neutral zone, not fighting, not connecting, just moving through the days with a companionable indifference. We hadn't had sex in 14 months, not because of any dramatic issue, but because we just sort of stopped. One day, we were having sex semi-regularly, and the next day we weren't, and neither of us wanted to be the person who brought it up. So we didn't. We didn't really talk much either. Not real talking. We talked about practical things, whose turn it was to buy groceries, whether we should get the plumbing fixed, what we were having for dinner. But we didn't talk about who we were, or who we wanted to be, or what we were doing together in this life. We had built a marriage on the principle of minimal effort, and it had worked pretty well until someone, apparently, decided that wasn't good enough anymore. I couldn't stop thinking about the email. I spent that evening going through my email inbox, looking for any correspondence I might have missed. There was nothing. I checked my credit card statements. No charge from Harmony Spa. I checked my call history. No calls to Harmony Spa. I went to the Harmony Spa website and looked at their confirmation process. It clearly required a phone number, an email address, a credit card, and several other pieces of identifying information, none of which I had provided. Did you book it? I asked Sarah again at dinner. No. Could you have forgotten? I didn't book it, David. She was emphatic about it in a way that made me believe her. Sarah doesn't do things impulsively. Sarah has a 5-year plan and a Google Calendar that's color-coded. Sarah would not book a couple's massage and then forget that she'd booked a couple's massage. Well, someone booked it, I said. Maybe it's a scam? Maybe someone stole your identity. It was possible, but it didn't feel right. The confirmation email was genuine. The spa was a real business. And my identity-stealing criminal had, apparently, decided to treat me and my wife to a massage. I'm going to call them, I said. Sarah looked up from her salad. Why? To find out what happened. David, it's just a massage. You could just go. I didn't book it. And someone did. So you could just go. With me. Have a massage. It's free, apparently. She said it like it was the simplest thing in the world. Like someone booking us a couple's massage without our permission was just a quirky thing that happened sometimes, and the appropriate response was to just accept it and move on. But I needed to understand. I needed to know who had done this and why. The next morning, I called Harmony Spa. The receptionist was cheerful in that way that spas are, like she existed in a state of perpetual relaxation and wanted to share that energy with everyone she encountered. Hi there. How can I help you? She chirped. I got a confirmation email for a couple's massage appointment, but I didn't book it. I need to know who did. There was a pause. Then, well, the appointment is under your name. Can I verify your information? I gave her my name, my phone number, my email address. She confirmed all of it. And you're saying you didn't book this? I'm saying I definitely did not book this. That's unusual. Let me see. The reservation was made online yesterday at 3:15 p.m. It was paid for with a gift certificate. My stomach did something weird. A gift certificate? Yes, a digital gift certificate. Someone must have purchased it and then used it to book your appointment. Who purchased it? I don't have that information, but it was sent to your email address, so was it a surprise? Was it a surprise? As if someone surprising you with a couple's massage they'd paid for was a normal thing that happened in normal marriages. It wasn't for anyone I know, I said. Well, I'd suggest checking your email spam folder. Sometimes those gift certificate notifications end up there. And if you'd like to cancel the appointment. No, I said quickly. I'll keep it. I hung up and immediately went to my spam folder. Nothing. I went to Sarah's email account, which I had the password for because we'd given each other passwords a long time ago, back when sharing passwords felt romantic, and checked hers. Nothing there either. I sat at my desk for a long time, staring at nothing. Someone had bought Sarah and me a couple's massage and paid for it with a gift certificate. Someone had created an account at Harmony Spa, entered my phone number and email address, booked a specific time slot, and arranged for us to be pampered together. Someone who was not my wife and not me, which meant someone was in my email account, or Sarah's, or knew both of our information well enough to pretend to be one of us, or someone was trying to tell us something. I didn't tell Sarah about the gift certificate thing. I told her to check her email spam folder, but I didn't explain why. I didn't want her to worry, or maybe I didn't want her to laugh at me for worrying. Instead, I spent the next 48 hours becoming increasingly paranoid. I changed all my passwords. I checked my credit reports. I looked through my email for any suspicious activity. I searched my sent folder for messages I might not remember sending. I went through my browser history to see what I'd been looking at. All of this was ridiculous. All of this was the kind of thing a person does when they have too much free time and too little understanding of actual security threats. But it made me feel like I was doing something. On Friday, the day before the massage, Sarah asked if we were actually going. Do you want to go? I asked. I don't care either way, she said, which was very much in character for her. Sarah did not have strong opinions about most things. She existed in a state of polite ambivalence about life. We should probably go, I said. It was paid for. Okay, that was it. No excitement, no curiosity, no indication that she thought this was anything other than a mildly inconvenient appointment she'd have to attend because her husband had decided they should. That night, I lay awake thinking about the email. I thought about the words. We look forward to pampering you and your special someone. Special someone. As if I was someone's special someone. As if someone thought Sarah was my special someone, or that I was hers. As if we hadn't spent the last 5 years being roommates with legal documentation. The spa was in a converted Victorian house in a nice part of town. It smelled like lavender and money. The receptionist who greeted us was the same voice from the phone, attached to a very young woman with a very calm demeanor. Welcome, she said. We're so excited you're here. You're our last appointment of the day, so you'll have the full experience. Elena and Marcus are just getting the massage rooms ready. Can I get you anything? Water? Tea? Something herbal? Sarah got water. I got a bottle of something called Serenity Blend. We were led to a waiting room that had a fountain and several chairs that looked like they'd been designed by someone who'd never seen a chair before but had read a very detailed description of one. Sarah sat down. I stood. "You're nervous," Sarah said. "I'm not nervous. You're standing like you're about to run away." She was right. I was nervous, but not about the massage. I was nervous because something in this situation felt intentional in a way that our life together had never been, and intentionality scared me. Intentionality meant someone cared. Intentionality meant someone was paying attention. Elena and Marcus came out, and they were exactly what you'd expect spa therapists to look like. Calm, centered, the kind of people who had probably never felt anxious about anything in their entire lives. "We have a very special package for you today," Elena said. "We're going to do a couples massage where you're together in the same room. It's very intimate, very connecting. Intimate, connecting. These were words that did not apply to my marriage. "Great," Sarah said. We were led to a room with 2 massage tables placed very close to each other. A soft instrumental version of what might have been music was playing. There were candles. There were more lavender. "We're going to start with a warm oil, and then we'll work on releasing tension from the shoulders and neck. Just try to relax, and let us know if the pressure is too much," Marcus said. I lay down on the table. Sarah lay down on the other one. Our hands were about 3 inches apart, and then 2 strangers started touching us. Here's the thing about having someone massage you while your spouse is also being massaged 3 inches away from you. It forces you to be vulnerable in a way that you can't avoid. You can't check your phone. You can't make excuses to leave the room. You can't retreat into the comfortable distance you've built between yourselves over 5 years. You're just there, being touched, while the person you've chosen to spend your life with is also being touched, and there's no pretense anymore. There's no "I'm busy," or "I'm tired," or "let's watch TV instead." There's just you in them and the fact that you're both human beings with bodies that need care. I felt the tension in my shoulders that I didn't know I was carrying. I felt Marcus working it out, pushing into the knots that had formed from 5 years of sitting at a desk and living a small life. And I thought about how long it had been since anyone had touched me with intention, touch that was meant to help rather than just exist. I opened my eyes and looked at Sarah. Her eyes were closed. Her face was relaxed in a way I hadn't seen it in years. She looked peaceful. She looked like someone who was allowing herself to be taken care of. When had I stopped trying to take care of her? When had she stopped trying to take care of me? The massage lasted 90 minutes, and it felt both eternal and like 3 seconds. When it was over, Elena said, "Just breathe for a moment. Don't jump up too quickly." We lay there, Sarah and I, in the lavender-scented room, and neither of us moved. Finally, she opened her eyes and looked at me. "That was nice," she said. "Yeah, it was. Thank you for making us come." "I didn't make us come. Someone booked this for us." "I know, but you made the choice to actually go. Some people would have just canceled." We got dressed and left the spa. We drove home in silence. Not the comfortable silence we usually drove in, but a different kind. A silence that felt like it was full of something. That night, Sarah and I sat on the couch and we talked. Actually talked. Not about dinner or bills or practical matters, but about us. "I've been thinking," Sarah said, "about why someone would book us a massage. I know, and I have a theory. I waited. I think one of us booked it, but we don't want to admit it. I considered this. That doesn't make sense. I didn't book it. You said you didn't book it. I know, but maybe we booked it and didn't tell each other. Or maybe we forgot. Or maybe there's some part of us that wanted to do something nice for the other person, but we were too scared to actually ask for it directly. So we hacked our own email accounts. No, but maybe we went to the spa website and started filling in the form, and then we changed our minds. And then we left it in a tab. And then maybe someone was looking at our browser history. Your mom knows our passwords, I said. We both went quiet. Sarah's mom had visited 3 weeks ago. She'd borrowed Sarah's computer to book a flight. And when she was done, Sarah had given me her password, and I definitely used her computer while she was visiting. And my mom had been over at least twice since then, and she definitely knew how to use a computer. Your mother would do this, I said. Your mother would think this was romantic. So would mine, Sarah said. But also, I think I'm glad she did. I looked at her. What? I'm glad someone forced us to do something that reminded us that we're a couple. Because I don't think we've actually been a couple for a really long time. What started as a discussion about the mysterious massage turned into the longest conversation we'd had in 5 years. Sarah said, "When did we stop trying?" I said, "I don't know. It was so gradual. One day, I realized I couldn't remember the last time I'd looked at you and felt anything, and I didn't know how we'd gotten there." Sarah said, "I love you, but I don't think I like you very much anymore. And I think that might be because I'm not very likable right now. I'm boring. I'm just going through the motions." I said, "You're not boring. You're settled. We're both settled. We settled for this instead of actually having a life together." Sarah said, "So what do we do?" That was the question, wasn't it? What do you do when you realize you've built a marriage on nothing? When you realize you're not really married, so much as you were just living with someone you once cared about? You could leave. That was always an option. We could have called a divorce lawyer on Monday morning and moved on with our separate lives. That might have been the healthier choice. But something about that massage, about being vulnerable at the same time in the same room, about realizing that someone, probably our mothers, probably a conspiracy between our mothers, had cared enough to force us to pay attention to each other, made me think we should try. We could start talking, I said. Like actually talking. About real things. That sounds exhausting, Sarah said. It probably will be. Okay, let's try. The next morning, I woke up and Sarah was awake too, and we decided that we would start having breakfast together instead of eating separately at different times while checking our phones. It was awkward. We didn't know what to talk about. We kept defaulting to practical conversations, and then one of us would remember and say, "That doesn't count. That's not real talking." It took 3 weeks before we could have a conversation about anything deeper than whether we should get the kitchen cabinets repainted. But gradually, things started to shift. Sarah told me that she hated her job and had been thinking about going back to school for something else. I told her I'd been thinking the same thing, but about my job, and that it had been making me depressed for years. We talked about what we wanted, and neither of us had a good answer, which was actually progress because at least we were asking the question. I told Sarah that I'd been worried she didn't find me attractive anymore. She told me she was worried the same thing about me. We talked about not having had sex in 14 months, and it was mortifying and honest in a way that nothing between us had been in a long time. We started going on actual dates. Not fancy dates necessarily, but intentional dates where we were trying to remember why we'd liked each other in the first place. We went to a museum. We went to a movie. We had dinner at a restaurant we'd never been to. These were small things, but they mattered. They mattered because we were doing them deliberately, not because we had to, but because we decided that our marriage was worth putting effort into. A month into this, a month after the massage, Sarah asked if I'd figured out who'd booked it. "I'm pretty sure it was your mom," I said. I called her. She denied it, but I'm almost positive she did it. I called my mom. She also denied it, but she laughed in a way that was very incriminating. Neither of us cared anymore who'd booked it. By then, the question wasn't important. What mattered was that someone had cared enough to make us pay attention. And once we were paying attention, we realized that there was actually something here worth saving. 3 months after the mysterious massage, Sarah told me that she'd applied to graduate school. I told her that I'd already applied to an MBA program. We were both going back to school, which meant we'd be busier, which meant less time together, which should have been a problem, but it wasn't because the time we did have together was actually good. We were still awkward sometimes. We still had arguments. We still didn't have a perfect marriage, but we were trying, and trying mattered. The sex came back gradually. It was a little weird at first. We were out of practice, and there was a learning curve to remembering how to be intimate with someone. But it came back because we wanted it to, and wanting things mattered too. One night, Sarah brought up the massage again. "Do you think someone really booked that?" she asked. "Or do you think it was a coincidence?" "I think our mothers conspired to save our marriage by booking us a couple's massage," I said. "That's actually the sweetest and the most annoying thing I've ever heard," Sarah said. "Yeah, that's them. We were lying in bed, actually in the same bed at the same time like we hadn't done much in the past few years. We were reading our separate books, but we were together. It was quiet and ordinary, but it was also intimate in a way that nothing had been before." "I'm glad they did it," Sarah said. Whatever happened, whoever did it, I'm glad something made us pay attention. 4 months after the massage, we finally got confirmation of who'd done it. We'd been planning a Mother's Day brunch, and when Sarah went to pick up her mom from her house, her mom was acting weird. Guilty. Sarah came home with a letter. She wanted me to give you this, Sarah said. The letter was addressed to both of us. It was written in both of our moms' handwriting. They'd apparently conspired together, just as we'd suspected. Dear Sarah and David, we've been watching the two of you for a long time, and we've watched you drift further and further apart. It broke our hearts. You got married because you loved each other, and you were both so happy, and then somehow you forgot. You forgot to try. You forgot to care. You forgot that love is something you have to choose over and over every single day. So we decided to remind you. We found a gift card online that we'd been saving, and we booked you a couple's massage because we thought maybe if you had to sit still together, away from your phones and your jobs and your distractions, you might remember that you're supposed to be on the same team. We hope it worked. We hope you're talking again. We hope you're remembering that marriage is work, but it's the good kind of work, the kind that matters. We love you both, and we're sorry for violating your privacy, but we'd do it again in a heartbeat if it meant saving what you two have together. With love, Mom, Sarah, and Mom, David. Sarah and I read it together, and neither of us spoke for a long time. I can't believe they did this, Sarah finally said. I can, I said. They love us. They also violated our privacy and manipulated us into couples therapy by way of massage. Yeah, but they did it out of love. Sarah laughed. We should be mad. We should be, but I don't think I am. Here's what I've learned from all of this. I've learned that marriages don't fail because of big dramatic things. They fail because of small, quiet choices made over and over. They fail because you stop trying. They fail because you stop talking. They fail because you get comfortable with the person next to you and stop seeing them as someone who matters. I've learned that sometimes you need an intervention. Sometimes you need someone to care about you enough to meddle in your life and force you to pay attention. Sometimes you need a spa day. I've learned that marriage is a choice. It's not something you do once at the altar and then you're done. It's something you do every single day. You choose to talk to your person. You choose to listen to them. You choose to care about them. You choose to keep trying. I've learned that vulnerability is terrifying and also the only way anything real happens. While I was lying on that massage table, I couldn't hide. I couldn't pretend to be fine. I could only exist and be taken care of, and that forced me to remember that I was a human being who deserved care. And so was Sarah. I've learned that the people who love you will sometimes do things that are inappropriate and invasive because they love you, and sometimes the appropriate response is not anger but gratitude. Sarah graduated with her new degree a year after the massage. She got a job doing something she actually cares about. I'm halfway through my MBA, and it's kicking my ass, but I'm doing it anyway because I decided to. We still have date nights. We still talk. We still have arguments about stupid things. But we also have moments where I look at Sarah, and I'm genuinely happy to be with her, and she tells me that she feels the same way about me. We sent our moms a thank you card. We made it ourselves. It had a terrible drawing of a massage table on the front and a message that said, "Thanks for saving our marriage with Spa Day. Invasion of privacy appreciated." They framed it. On our anniversary last month, I asked Sarah if she wanted to book another couple's massage. "Are you serious?" she asked. "Yeah, I think I want to. Not because someone is forcing us to, but because I want to spend time with you doing something that feels good." Sarah smiled. "Okay, but I'm booking it myself this time." She did. She called the spa and made a reservation under her own name with her own email address. And when the confirmation came through, it said the same thing it had said the first time. "We look forward to pampering you and your special someone." And this time, the phrase didn't feel like a threat. It felt like a promise. Marriage is not easy. Love is not easy. Choosing to keep trying when it would be so much easier to walk away is one of the hardest things you can do. But it's also the most worthwhile. All because someone cared enough to book us a massage.